You did that for me.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Well, hello, everyone. I just want to welcome you to this sit down with my son, David. It's my handsome son. Words of affirmation that he really, really likes. So I guess today... What?
Jeez, what the heck?
Just trying to encourage
My mom likes gifts.
Well, I used to like gifts, but now
it's physical touch.
No.
So if you see her,
it's a massage.
If you see her, give her a big hug.
Don't give me a big hug.
Like this.
But I do want to say thank you for coming on today. This is something that you inspired me to do, actually forced me, and I lost a bet, and so now here I am. Anyways, we've been talking about this for a very long time. David has been studying how to do all this. It seems like your whole life, but how long have you been interested in doing a podcast?
For like 10 days. But no, I've been doing a lot of digital stuff for like almost...
Since you were birth?
Yeah. As soon as I came out of the womb, I was like, I need to figure this out. Because I'm not going to have any other skill in my life. I can't build a fire. My hands are soft. It's true.
It's his feet that are soft. But anyways.
All right. No, so I've been doing a lot of digital stuff for like 10 years. I was saying, you guys, before we started recording, like for 10 years, I've been researching how to do marketing, digital graphics, podcasting, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. And it's hard though, because everything keeps changing. Unfortunately though, we've been able to amass a little bit of gear.
Yeah.
So thankfully that the skills and how to learn and how to use those skills have been, fruitful in other things we've done. I mean, we've done things for Auntie Lou. We've done things for her video and the camera and all this camera knowledge. It's been a blessing. So,
and we were pretty excited to get this all started back in Guam.
Yep.
And then some things kind of came up. And we had our own podcast room, our own office, everything set up, the whole shebang. Really nice area. But then the Lord had other plans for us. So tell me about that journey for you.
It sucked.
Yeah.
That was hard.
Let's be real, David. Be real, please. Be transparent.
Tell me how you really feel.
Remember, this is a Christian program.
You're not. Oh,
I don't know if suck is allowed, but I will allow it.
It decimated my demeanor. No, it was hard because I was like, we need to do this. And back in Guam, it was a different world. It still is weird. It feels like I watched an episode of, a secular show called Black Mirror. No, it was weird. It felt like I was in a different universe. It felt like, it still feels that way. And that's not that it was bad. It's just, I had like this burning call, it felt like, to produce something that was for people to listen to. So I didn't know if that was going to be a podcast. I didn't know if that was going to be through Instagram. I didn't know if we were going to do multiple production set, pieces or music videos or whatever. And so I started researching on all the gear that we needed, what kind of microphones we needed, what kind of stands, what kind of cables, what kind of angles. Right now we have one camera and like maybe 2 or 3 cameras, what kind of thing for the audio recorder. So all this stuff in a short amount of time. And how do I use all this? And can it be multi-purposeful? But
not only that, it was kind of like just jerked up, and there goes all the vision, there goes the dream, there goes the, it was just kind of taken away. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so I mean...
Wait, before you start, let me just say, for those who don't know, David was assistant pastor at Calvary Chapel Guam, in Guam, and the Lord had called us to Texas, where we never thought we'd end up, but he kind of uprooted us and our family, and so and we are transitioning. We've been already transitioned here in Texas. So tell me about that journey for you, because I know it was for all of us, for our family, it was very painful, very confusing time, and we just got through a lot of traumas that we were all going through. So how about you? How was that for you? Because David and his wife Shannon actually literally, I would like to say, the Lord gets the glory, but had a big part in saving his parents, really. So you want to...
Yeah, well, there's a lot of there. I mean, one at a time. Yeah, with the podcast thing and then being uprooted and leaving, that was hard because being an assistant pastor in Guam and, kind of helping with the admin side and also the marketing side and the digital side, Shannon and I thought, and I feel like we all kind of felt that we were going to be there forever. Shannon and I have prayed many times in length to leave the island multiple times. And I tried getting jobs and and I don't have an amazing resume, but I also don't have like a lackluster resume at that. Yeah. So, I applied to jobs and like, no. And the Lord kept saying no. And then finally, you kind of led to, the whole, sickness. I don't know if you can say what it is with the COVID stuff. It was hard because it was immediately like, as soon as we knew, it was like weeks later we left immediately. And it was not something that we planned. Like we're all just going to dump and leave and, we're part of all these people's lives and peace out. Like that wasn't it at all. And so it was very hurtful and very, I'm the kind of person that, and it's not just a man thing, but I'm very well at compartmentalizing and being like, even if trauma happens, I'm just like, okay, now what needs to happen and what, I'm not very much deer in the headlights person. I fall apart later. Like like months sometimes. Well, and I'll figure out like, I think I'm dealing with something. Yeah. And you're like, what is it?
We kind of experienced that. It almost felt like when we were called to Guam, we thought maybe a year or two, just spreading the gospel. Ended up being 10 years. And I felt like part of that was fight or flight in Guam. It was just a different type of atmosphere, spiritually. And I think for me, I always used to call it like peace. I just have peace. I'm like in this bubble. I'm like in this bubble that the Lord is protecting me. And then all of a sudden the bubble bursts and you're like, what are all these feelings? What am I going through? What is this? And I think the Lord got us through a lot of difficult times in Guam, hardships, struggles, traumatic experiences. Yeah. And then, like you said, because the same thing happened to me, all of a sudden it was like, what just happened? And how do we get through that? And it's almost like coming to Texas. For me, it was a little bit of PTSD, because I've never gone through this before. I don't know. Even acclimating yourself in Texas in the westernized church was very, very hard. And this is a church that we've been at for 9 years before we went to Guam. Yeah. And to even come back and integrate into that, totally different atmosphere, totally different everything. So how did you get through that? And how are you doing?
Well, I definitely don't think I got through it.
You're going through it now.
What's the date of this recording?
Yeah, exactly.
Who's going to see this? No, but yeah, it's definitely something that's, it's hard because I don't know if this is true for everybody because we call them light blue Christians. So if you're one of those people, that's okay. But those are the kind of Christians I feel like that are like, Daddy didn't give me the yacht I wanted. And that's just such spiritual warfare. Or, I don't know why that's the voice I came up with. Or, we should cut that out. Can we edit this?
Edit.
Yeah, I'm the one editing this.
Yes, I know. So you know your job.
Yeah, you know your job. No, the big spiritual thing is like, which is true. Like, I didn't get the job. But there's just some things that if you're not on the front lines, and some people understand that, like if you're not on the front lines of something and you're not used to trials, then the most that you go through is not as much as you would go through if you are on the front lines. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So for me, I feel like we've been on the front lines more, you and Dad, than Shannon and I feel like I always give you guys that honor and respect. But when you always tell me like, no, you guys were right there, and I was like, yeah, I guess we were, right? Like, I guess we were. Like I kind of have to remind myself. So that being said, I always feel like every trial we go through is the hardest trial. Mm-hmm. Like I never remember like, oh yeah, it's not as hard as the other one. Like I just like, it just sucks all the time. It's always hard. And I feel like that is a consequence, or that is as Pastor Joe taught the other day, his dad taught, that is part of the suffering of being with the Lord. That is almost the branding. That is almost the mark that you are close to the Lord. It's almost the fruit, right? Of recognition of saying like, oh no, you are where you're supposed to be.
Because I think a lot of times that's how the Lord grows us and refines us, is in suffering.
Yeah. And it's not, and he says, if you suffer for my name's sake, right? So it's not if you're just suffering because you make terrible decisions and you aren't there partying. You're like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Yeah.
You're all drunk and having
you're like, I think the Lord loves me. Yeah. Like, yes. But also what are you doing? So because we are, I could say that we are, my family and my little family, we are striving to be close to the Lord, and we are trying to do good, right? So your question was, how am I getting through this time being here at the Westernized church and being this huge church compared to Calvary Guam? It is very difficult because it's almost like people don't understand what you just got out of. And I don't feel I don't feel people understand like, oh, like it's okay, like just take 2 weeks off. It's like, what do you mean 2 weeks? Like, I feel like
there's a healing process that needs to take place.
Yeah, well, not only that, yes, for sure, but I feel like this is a life changing, altering moment that just happened. Like the years and not even, never mind the years of people you pour into and the friendships and the career or the whatever you built and the visions that you felt like the Lord gave you. Never mind all of that, which is a huge thing in itself. But then coming and the Lord calling you out to do something else that you didn't even see at all, and then being like, okay, Lord, you are the one who brought this out. How do you go through how does your brain say, okay, now we're in this place where DoorDash is a thing, or now you're in this you're in this place where
Amazon gets to your house the next
in 2
day.
days, or midnight if you need it,
You're like,
but not only, never mind all that, but then just being like, okay, Lord, what did we, like, you have to understand, not you, but like you have to understand, like in Guam, it was different because of the mandates, because of like we were like, we're gonna get arrested, like wear good underwear because we're gonna be there for because
really. And having our care packages planned out, like when I go to jail, this is what I want.
This is what I want, and this is how you give it to me.
Showing up to church, and there's a National Guard post right outside your church.
What are you doing here?
Yeah, 8 cop cars roll up and say what's going on, and they're
and then you couple that with like dads being asked to talk on the radio station, and you have to understand that it's not like a radio station here where it's like white noise.
TV,
it's like NTV, right? It is so big there. Like if you are on TV or on the radio station that he was on, KUAM, right? It's like everybody watches that. Like everybody reads the newspaper. It's not white noise. It's like if something happened that week, everybody knows about it for 3 weeks, like for a long time. It's not like, oh yeah, it's on the news. It's like, so when you go from that and then you are forced to shut down the church, and you're forced to what do you do? Do you turn people away, or do you enforce mask mandates? Do you do all these things? Do you tell people, hey, we're going to close down the church? And then, I don't know if we want to get into it that much, but there are people who were going to kill themselves if they were driving down the road. And praise the Lord that our church was like right across the beach, and our building is big enough so you could see it, all the Lord's design, that if they didn't see that there was cars parked there, they were like, that's it.
We had an incident where a guy said that if he was all night, writing his goodbye letter, and he cried out to God one last time, and said that he was going to look for a church, whatever church was open, because on the island every church was closed at that time. And he drove up and he saw that we were open, and he walked in, and Dad gave the altar call, and he gave his life to the Lord, and came forward and showed the letter, and was just really bawling, saying that there was just no hope. He had no hope. And so at that moment, the Lord knew we have to stay open. And it wasn't, there was many cases like that. I don't think people knew how many cases of people who wanted to commit suicide or homeless, I'm talking about men who own their businesses, and it got shut down. And then their whole family is waiting for them to provide, and they just feel hopeless. And they're walking in the church like, what do I do? And all we can say is God is for you. He is with us, even in the dark times when we don't understand. He is our hope. He is our anchor in the waviness of that. And for us to, I feel like have the faith that we had, we kind of felt like which it wasn't our burden to carry, right? But it was kind of like a calling that we stepped into, saying, we want to show people who Jesus really is in such a dark time, and I know that even around the island, being part of the founder of Safe Haven, we had women showing up to Safe Haven, knocking on the door with their babies wrapped in towels, saying, I don't have diapers. And so there birthed the diaper drives that we had, and we gave out diapers, we had formula, we gave out whatever the island needed, the community needed. And then over 1,000 people that we fed, and we got cited. The police came for that. like you said, there were just so many things that people didn't realize that was really going on during that time.
And like you said, I think the word there is not. It is, but it's not in the sense of, in the word you used was burden. It's not the burden of like, you know,
No,
like
not at all, because you have so much love for these people.
Yeah, and so in Christianese, we would say a heart for, right? You have a heart for, and the last word there is always loss, right? The heart for the lost, right? But it was such a burden that the Lord put on your heart, our heart, to be like, no matter what. Like, no matter what is, like, governor says you're going to go to jail. The governor says you're going to get all these fines. And it's like, okay, so what, governor? It's like, it trickles down. And it goes down from governor to the police, to the community, to the people around you, to other Christians who are like, what are you doing?
It caused such a division.
Yep.
And I think what hurt most was even in the Christian community when they came against us and was like, I can't believe it. You say you love people. What are you doing? You know? And it was like, we are loving people.
Yeah. Yeah. You think, so one of the things that is awesome about the island is the sense of family,
yes,
of, you know, that bigger, broader community. But it was almost something that backfired for us, because the sense of family was so much so that people were afraid of getting sick and getting their family sick, that it then turned into, well, you can do church online, and you can do all these other things to take care of the family. So, but you know, what they didn't realize that they were doing is they were putting the Lord second, right? They were putting the Lord second and their family first, because they were like, we're gonna protect the family more than what we're gonna be doing with the Lord and serving the Lord. So all that to say, I mean, that's just a small snippet of like what happened. Then we move, right? And then we come out, and then we go and we go and we come back to Texas, and it's completely different. The mentality is different.
Yeah.
The people are great. You know, I went to school here, and like I was raised here, so like I know the people, you know, and I know the community and the house, like it's all nice, right? But the mentality is very different, and it's hard to explain unless you are either have gone through it or going through it. It's just a different calling, I guess. We're coming from the front lines of being like, no matter what, we're gonna die on this hill, and we're gonna praise the Lord. We're gonna serve Him regardless of what anybody says, because of what He told us to do. Now, don't get it twisted. Like, we're not just bold for no reason, you know what I mean? No. But now coming here, and it's like, oh, you don't just heal and get back in there. It's like,
yeah.
What do you mean? Like,
and it's almost like, all you got to do is serve. Just start serving. Just start getting plugged in.
Your fire will come back.
And it wasn't that. It was
It is not that.
We really needed to process what we just went through, and like you said, it's a different atmosphere here. Whereas I feel like it was we were in survival mode in Guam, not only with the churches, but just regard to, we weren't allowed into the restaurants unless we wore a mask, unless you're vaccinated. 96% of the island is vaccinated, and if you weren't, you literally were looked down upon, like you wanted to murder people. And for me, my doctor said, you cannot get vaccinated for my autoimmune disease that I deal with.
Right.
And so it was a little bit like, well, what am I supposed to do? You know, I couldn't go to the restaurants. Whoop-de-doo, right? But when you get sick with COVID and then you go to the hospital and they won't even let you in. They won't even let you in the hospital. Yep. And then the doctor, Dr. James, who took care of me, laughed, said, whoa, what do you know? You have COVID. And I mean, I'm practically dying, can't breathe, passing out in the chair. And he's joking about it. And not even, 6 feet near me. Nobody wanted to touch me. I was just
like unclean,
really. And, then they talked about making that camp over there to set up tents, and that's where we're going to send them all. Then
the unvaccinated.
Yeah, the unvaccinated. And then, as most people know, my husband was in the hospital about to die. And during that time, I remember on the news where they got this big frozen container where they were going to put the dead bodies. I mean, talk about traumatizing. And your husband's in the hospital, and people are dying left and right every day, because of this. And they just were not telling us other ways to combat COVID even. It was just a big, great division on the whole island. And we were just trying to survive. And then to come here, nobody's wearing a mask. Everybody's free still. People are shoulder to shoulder in the church worshiping God, where in Guam, they were saying you can't even worship anymore. You cannot,
you got to stay 6 feet away.
You got to stay 6 feet away.
You have to have so many people in the building.
Yes. It was just it was literally like coming out of war and coming to church here, or being even in, at the store, grocery store, in a different world. I was like, what did we just come from? What just happened? But at the same time, you're crying because you miss your fellowship. You miss that closeness. You miss that camaraderie. You miss that worship, because boy, when we sang,
this could be the last time.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
worship unto the Lord. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when we are told not to worship, and then you do it anyways, because that's who we serve. We serve God, and we're going to worship him regardless of who says.
Yeah.
It is, I mean, people are crying on their knees to coming here, and it's just like the same old, it was just different. And I can truly, understand why, those veterans, warriors who come, soldiers who come off a battlefield, they come back and they're just not the same. Something's different. Something's clicked. And the family doesn't understand why. Our church family couldn't understand why. Like, you guys are so excited. We want to hear from you. We want to see you serve. We want you to minister to other people. And they couldn't understand. It's like a soldier who comes from war and they almost want to go back because those people understand. And then I'm looking at, your dad's looking at me like, what? Because I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard. And there are certain people that we have met here that have similar stories as us, and those people, it's almost like, and you use the analogy of like warriors or, military that have come back. When they see an older veteran, or they see someone that has served either more times than them, or their arms missing, or, limbs, and if you don't know that, then, and the reason why I know this is because we have so many military, right? So like half of 75% of our church at any given time, and then 50, and then 25 would be military, SEALs and Marines and Navy and Army, Air Force, Coast Guard, like all of them, Reserve. So it's almost like if you don't know that, then if you watch a movie, then you would know, like, it's always like that hard and, peppered dude comes and he's ministering to the young buck that's like, I don't know what to do, it's kind of like that. But it is something different. Like it's not looking down upon the people who have not gone through that. It's not being like, oh, the Western civilized church. It's like, you don't know. It's more like, don't come at us and be like, you should be more, you should do this, and this is what you need to do, and you just need to hang in there, and don't give up. It's like, yes, but also no. That's not what we need to hear right now. It's like, you guys almost died, like you guys, you know what I mean? Like, that is and traumatizing to be like, I've got to pick up my dad who's normally 200 and some plus pounds, who is now below 200 pounds, and I feel like if I hold him too hard, he's gonna break. And that's a weird feeling if you've ever seen my dad. You know what I mean? Or he can't shave his own head, or he can't, he's on oxygen tank, or and you're like, and you're gonna black out, and I'm like, what do we do? So never mind all the trauma, is what it honestly is. The trauma of the Lord uprooting your family, your job, everything, and then go and be like, go to the land in which you don't know yet, which you kind of know, but you don't know what you're going to do when you get there. You don't know where you're going to live. You don't know if you're going to have a car. You don't know nothing. You have family that you're going to stay with for 1 month. It ended up being, you're going to stay with family for 1 month, 1 month and a half, which is a blessing. But then now what, And so it's been almost 6 months since that happened. And it's gotten better. It's still
fresh.
Yeah, it's gotten better in the sense of like, it doesn't, I don't cry at night anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not to the point that's like, it's hard. It's hard to explain. It's like,
it's very hard. And the other thing that we haven't even touched on, and I kind of was trying to avoid it, was the people that we left.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
I don't think, part of you thinks like, I hope they don't think we abandoned them, because we love them. We spent 10 years of our life pouring into them. So that was hard. And then when you hear just the transition that they're going through or their everyday life, and you just want to be part of it. You just want to hug them, or a diagnosis they had, or a baby that they've had, and they want you to dedicate their baby, just those things that we just poured out into. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you said,
I don't want to bring that part up, but
no, yeah. I mean, I think it's harder because I think we all deal with it, is that, it's hard to think, it's very hard to think about that, to think that we don't want them to think that we abandoned them. Mm-hmm. But I think what's really hard is thinking you did. And that sucks, because it's like, I didn't want to do that. And if it really wasn't for the Lord, honestly, then I would not have, my family, and mom and dad, we were there forever. Like that was it, because we tried. We've tried. My family has tried to leave, and the Lord's like, no. And it's like, okay then.
Oh yeah.
And the Lord literally told us, like, you will root down. If you stay here, I will plant you.
Place roots.
And not only that, but if you do try to leave, I will pluck you up. Mm-hmm. And I will destroy you. And that's in Jeremiah 33:3, I think. So, and that could be wrong. We're going to put it on the screen if that's not right. Shannon knows. So, because Shannon, that was the verse that the Lord gave Shannon. And I was like, yeah, we should probably stay, Mm-hmm. But then to one day out of nowhere, when it is the height of its craziness, mm-hmm. the Lord's like, pack up and go. And not only do you have to pack up and go, but you have to pack up and go in haste.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember, a couple years, it was 2 years ago that the Lord gave the word to us, establish. Yeah. Establish. We were like, established. So we were looking for land to buy. We were trying to establish the church. We you became the assistant pastor. We had another assistant pastor. We were like establishing, mm-hmm. and we didn't understand it at the time. We were just obeying, and now I know why, because mm-hmm. COVID hit, mm-hmm. and man, if we weren't established, we probably would have been those churches that didn't open up, never opened back up. In Guam, we had, I think it was 9 pastors die.
Yep.
And then 6, I think more than 6. I lost count now, but churches that literally just closed down, never opened up. Their pastors flew back to the States to be with their families. Mm-hmm. It just all of a sudden got dark. And I think at that time we were in fight mode. Like, no, we're going to stand. We're going to stand. We're going to be the salt. We're going to be the light. We're going to be, warriors for Christ. And it was a fight the whole time to stay. And then when your own Christian community turns on you, yep. and is like, what are you doing? You can't please those who want to wear a mask and those who don't want to wear a mask. They want freedom, and you can't please the locals, and you can't please the military, and you can't please. And it got
are we gonna force vaccinations so people can come in?
You're not vaccinated, and you're vaccinated, and then there's a divide in the church because I heard Susie got vaccinated. And
then you hear somebody go like this, and you're like,
yeah. Yeah. And so we tried to, it came down to, we just need to please God.
Yep.
And it was literally, I felt like, because it wasn't always like that, being in ministry and over a church, it has its trials. The enemy's always out to steal, kill, and destroy. But
100%.
But this last couple of years was different. It was like a new spiritual realm had been opened, and we were in fight mode. And so when the Lord gave us the okay to go, we were out.
Well, it was also, yes, it was an okay, but it was like for me and my family, it was like, not only is it okay, but get in the boat.
Well, I wonder why, because my daughter was pregnant, your wife was pregnant.
My daughter was pregnant.
And we had an incident where a woman called in and said that, she was told that if she needed a C-section because she wasn't vaccinated, they wouldn't give her a C-section at the hospital.
They would tell her to get vaccinated first.
Right. And they rejected me there. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden it became like this, Lord, what are we going to do if Shannon needs a C-section or my daughter needs a C-section? What are we going to do? It became real that,
But what's crazy though is we were still going to stick it out.
Oh yeah.
We were so it was not like what are we going to do? It's like, oh crap, I don't know. Like we'll figure it out. The Lord will provide.
What did we do? We started getting suture kits. Yep. We started getting lidocaine. We started
whatever
getting
those are.
Antibiotics. All kinds of stuff.
Oxygen tanks, which one of those ended up saving your life.
Oh yes, actually it did.
So like you were preparing for basically home births because we weren't gonna, and we were, so it wasn't, the move was not like, well, what do we do? Well, the only answer is to leave. Like that would have been great, but we all were on the mentality of like, no, we're staying here. So what do we need to do? We need to buy all these kits. We need to buy blankets. We need to buy
IV bags. We had a whole box of IV bags. We were ready.
Yep.
We were ready, and we were preparing even the church to be a safe place for people who. I mean, who knows what was going to happen? We were ready. We were ready to be the church that if people got sick with COVID, we would take care of them.
Yeah, and we, not naming names.
I mean, we had all boxes of IV bags. What were we going to do with that?
I mean, yes.
We were crazy.
But never mind the bags. We had containers of food.
Yeah, we won't say where it came from.
Yeah,
but
the Lord.
The Lord.
And so it was containers of food, and it was delivered to us, and we're like, what do we do with this? They're like, just bless people. And it was like, okay.
We will.
So, and we had it all ready. And it's still there. Oh, we did food drives and stuff. Many, and cars were all over.
Yeah.
And people are like.
And what was sad was we literally reached out to some pastors around the community and said, if this is a way for you to keep your church open, to feed the community, and because there's different villages, come pick up 500, these food things that we have to feed multiple 500 pastors, people.
Yeah.
And nobody showed up. Nobody wanted to feed their community. They wanted to keep shut down. And I, to be in that kind of mentality was like, what is going on? Fear just took over. Fear. And I think when you come out of that, you come out of, just flying out of Guam was like, whew.
Oh yeah, that was
you know what I mean?
That was hard. It's hard. Shannon was pregnant, 3 kids.
Yeah.
So I have 4 now. But that was hard. And I don't do good in the morning. That's why we're filming it right now. It's daytime. But it was, that was hard too. But yeah, and it's hard though, because, and some of those pastors, super cool guys, but their board told them, you can't, we're not opening up. And that's hard. And that was a blessing being, Calvary Guam is the Moses model, was like, no, we're following the pastor. And if the pastor says we're doing it, you either get in line or gracefully go away. You know what I mean? Like, we don't just get out, but like, you know what I mean? Like, if this is the vision of the pastor, this is what we're doing. You know what I mean? And so if you don't want to help that, then, there could be another church for you,
Well, let's
that
talk
are closed. That's closed.
Yeah. Well, but let's talk about during the time that we, when COVID hit, how we lost all of our leadership except one man.
Yeah.
We lost all of our leadership. And so it was literally coming to church saying, we don't know who's going to do announcements. We don't know who's going to be on the worship team. We don't know who's going to, get toilet paper for the bathroom. We don't know who's going to, we're just, Dad said, we're just going to go and I'm going to preach the gospel like this is the last time. And
show up.
And the Lord raised up, new leadership. He did a new work. And, but I remember that was a really dark time for us. Like, wow, is he shutting down this church? And meanwhile, we're like, no, you got to fight to stay open. We got to fight to stay open. We don't want to shut down. We're trying to be encouraging to other churches to open up. And yet we lost everybody.
Yeah, there was a time, just because this thing came out of nowhere, right? So there was a time when we were like, okay, guys, we're going to shut down
for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks. And it was 2 weeks, and because that's what all the research said. But in those 2 weeks, what did we do? We did online, right? It was some crazy wizardry Facebook Live stuff that happened. We had we had to record the worship leader, and then we had to play her on the TV, and then I had to do lyrics and then do Facebook Live, and there was a dog running around in your house, and we're like, everybody be quiet. That was such a crazy time. But then the 2 weeks ended ended after 14 days. And then now what? Now we decided, okay, now we're going to open the church. And that was based off of research that we've done, testimonials of this is it's an intense, now we know, it is a sickness. It's not like, it's in your
fake. Yeah.
It's in your head. Like that's not at all what we were saying, but we were saying the church, the Bible specifically says, do not forsake the assembling of the saints. And so as us in leadership, are we enabling that, or are we going to say like, oh no, in this specific time, the Bible wouldn't have seen this, and so we're just going to say we're going to close? No, is the Bible true or is it not? And so we decided to open up, and so massive amount of backlash, like you said, a lot. Not if everybody but one decided to stay on leadership, and then it's like, okay, here we go, skeleton crew. Now, who's doing what? It's like, okay, well, what actually needs to happen? I mean, do we need a children's ministry? If not, and who's going to do it? And if we don't have anyone to do it, then we're all sitting in the congregation, whoever's coming. Are we doing slides? No, we're just using paper. Okay, cool. Are we doing Facebook Live for those who do have, physical problems or health issues that really cannot come out? Okay, then we want to love on those people too, but for sure, we are open. Yeah. And that was a big thing. And that, like you said, it was hard because immediately it was like, are you my friend? Are you my friend? Are you my foe? Are you my friend? And, and you didn't even have to go ask. They would just tell you, I don't support what you're doing. And, I can't believe you. And how could you? And your son's just doing that because he's your son. And no, like even for my family, even for you guys, you were like, if you guys pray about it and if you guys not are afraid, but if you guys are trying to protect your family in that way, we want to honor that. But we just need to know where you stand. And we were like, no, we're with you. And if everybody leaves you,
And that's what was amazing too, is because remember we had the National Guard outside on Barragata, that one road. And you were like, well, I'm going to have to go the long way. You totally drove around. Yeah. And
so the National Guard, they posted up and they basically told you, if you're not an essential worker, if you are not an essential worker on essential business, whatever that means, they have checkpoints, and the National Guard was checking every single car that was going in between. They would stop them and be like, what is your business today, sir? So I decided to go around the entire island and go.
Yes, which I love because you didn't want to lie, but we were like, church is essential. That's when that whole thing started.
Yeah, I'm not a good liar.
We know.
Yeah. At least when people like.
He also doesn't keep secrets well.
Yeah. All right.
You guys know.
Okay. That's why
Ask his brother.
That's why sorry.
Everybody knows that. You want the truth, you go to David.
Yes. That's good though.
Yes.
It's sort of.
That is good. Well, I do want to say though that I'm
a snitch. I knew it from the beginning.
No.
Every gang needs one.
We're always in our family like, don't tell David.
Yeah, please. And I'm the last to know. And they're like, does he need to bring his camera? Yeah, he does. Come on,
dang it, he's got to come.
Yeah. Gosh.
No, but I do want to say though that I just, until you've gone through those things, a lot of people have gone through some dark times.
Yeah.
I just want to give honor where honor is due, and that is that the Lord never left us, never forsook us. Sometimes we don't understand His ways. His ways are higher than our ways, but He has always been so good to us, And I am blessed where we are now, and even the church that we're in. I know, that may be hard, especially for our family, but I've seen a lot of healing in our family, not just myself, but even in the grandchildren being free to run around and meet new friends and just how loving this church has been towards us and patient they've been towards us. I'm just really blessed. I'm blessed for, some of the women that I've met and I'm getting to know. So I don't want to, say the Western Rite Church. It's been a process for us, and I'm very blessed to be here, and I'm blessed that you're here and Shannon's here, and it's getting better. Yeah.
And I everything you said, I agree, and I think it's just the understanding that. And maybe we're just not good at communicating that. I don't. It could be us, but it's that understanding of like, okay, if someone miscarries, there is a universal understanding of I'm sorry, and how do I love on you, right? If the death of a spouse happens, or even a split in a marriage, there is, and you go down any other traumatic event. There's always this general, universal understanding of, I know how to love on you. You either need space or don't need space. If you're suicidal, there is an understanding of, I'm here with you, bro. I'm going to text you every day or every minute, depending on, for whatever reason.
Or I'm sleeping outside your door with the door open.
Yep. Yeah. Or I'm sleeping in your room and I'm going to cuddle you. And it's not weird because you're my brother, or you're whatever. It's just, there's not an understanding of a traumatic event that happens when you come from the front lines of ministry. You know, and this is why like you said, in the military, that's why the veteran love is such. You need to have that community. You need to check in with your dudes. You know, you need to have that strong. You cannot be a lone wolf, right? But there, just for whatever reason, there is not that for a missionary.
That's right.
I don't know why. Why is that?
It is sad, and I do know that the missionaries we've had come through, you can see,
it's like
you have compassion for them, and you're like, let me just hold you.
Well, not only that, but when they see you, and there is like this look in an eye, and there is like this, how I know that that we know that what happened to us. It may not, you could be from Africa and you're from Guam, or you're from Russia and you're from wherever else, but there's this universal, like, it's heavy, but I don't want to give up, and it's hard, but it's very rewarding. But also it's not just keep going, it's not that. And so there is something special when you finally click with that. And it's like, and I think one of the things too is like, for you guys don't know where Guam is, it's a very tropical. It's a tropical island, right? You know what I mean? And so it's
we're suffering for the Lord.
Yeah, we're suffering. Wow, I can't believe you're suffering. Oh my goodness, white sand beaches. It's like,
that's where we go to keep our sanity.
But what people don't understand is that there's this thing called island fever, and there's this thing where people literally, the suicide rate in Guam is so high because they feel trapped. I bet you didn't think of that. People who aren't from there. I bet you don't know that the domestic abuse is massive. What
about the drugs?
That the drugs are massive. That there's crime. That it's not just all like, no, aloha, oi. You know what I mean?
That's Hawaii, not Guam,
but you know what I'm saying? And there's a stigma.
Yes.
of that's not it. It is very beautiful, and the people are awesome, and it's like, it is very island time, and it's very relaxed. But if you are there on a mission to save the lost, everybody, you know what I mean? And even for those who are there called to do the same thing, and they just want a fellowship, and you just want a church community, it's not easy. It's not like, oh, we're just going to go down and get baptized in the beach. How cool. Like that is awesome. But that is just where we baptize. You know what I mean? It's just different of mentality. So, man, it is definitely a blessing to be here and here in the States, in Texas. But it is, I just wish that there was a universal understanding, to wrap up that point, is I just wish that people understood, because it is hurt. When you tie yourself to a place for 10 years, I didn't have a beard when I started. You know what I mean?
You were a baby.
I was, I'm trying to hide it on the camera, but I'm sucking it in.
Real.
You know, I'm trying to, what I mean? What's a good angle? Yeah. You invest so much of your life, and then to come out, even if your missionary was not, and I don't think we considered ourselves missionaries, but that's just easier to tell people.
Yeah.
Like we were there for life, and then the Lord called us somewhere else, but it's easier to tell people, oh yeah, we were a missionary for 10 years. 10 years! Like, yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just wish that there was
actually, to tell the truth, I thought Dad just needed to go to Guam and get this out of his system for a couple years, and then we'd be back. So as the years went on, I was like, and all your brothers and sisters started trickling back to the States. I always thought, well, are we going to stay? And then there was a point where, yes, we're going to stay. Yep. And so then to be uprooted was different. But
what's been the most rewarding thing coming back to the States because of what the Lord told you to do?
The most rewarding, I think, is being able to be around all my grandchildren. I did leave, some in Guam.
Which people don't, that's also hard.
Yeah, and thank goodness for FaceTime, because we're always FaceTiming at least, a couple times a week. And they, my grandson, your nephew, Gioni, is always like, are you still in the airplane? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so so that's been hard. But I would like to say, it's not like I haven't been there before, because the ones that, have trickled back, Kalea and Gabriel and Layla and all the other ones that were here, my heart was always torn. Guam and Texas, So I think that's been rewarding to be all together, and not to mention, my sister and her family, and having more time with them. And it's just nice.
It's weird. It's almost like they didn't age for me.
Yeah, I know.
It's
So
like,
saying,
they're the
must be
same.
nice, but I'm still the younger sister.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh. Okay.
Really, I'm older, but everybody thinks she's the oldest.
I mean, we've been talking about Guam for a lot, but like, other than obviously the fellowship and the people, and like, what do you miss most about? Is that what you miss most? Like, do you like, if you could have one or the other, would you rather have the place or the food from Guam?
I can't pick.
What,
I miss the food.
Oh.
But it's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, what took so long to do this video is because, and I kept telling David, I just want to do my voice, is because I'm like,
It's gonna be great
I need
too.
to lose weight before I get on here.
Yeah,
and I just said,
yeah.
you know what? Never mind. I think I'm going to be like this
know
forever.
Gosh, that's depressing. What the heck?
Yeah, I know.
You can change.
You just got to do it.
What are you going to talk about? What are you talking about?
Losing weight.
Oh, okay. I thought we were talking about the podcast.
Oh, yeah, I'm that too. I just
Yeah.
got to do it, So
Yeah.
then I can look back when I'm even fatter and be like, look how skinny I was, because that just seems like the story of my life.
Yeah. Gosh, what the heck?
No, but I do miss, I think I miss the slow pace.
Oh, yeah. I didn't count that, but that is
The slow pace, the everybody understands having a big family. I think in the States they have one or two. Over there, everybody has 22 kids, 10 kids, So they understand when you say, oh, my family and I have,
This.
they understand that.
Yeah.
Where over here, it's like, who cares if you have family? You got to work.
Yeah. Or be at this event that you said you were going to go to. Yeah. Or why can't you come over and have coffee or whatever? Like, I don't drink coffee, but you know what I mean? Yeah. It is definitely, yeah. I mean, that's so weird. I do miss that, the pace, but I miss it for a different reason. I miss when people want to talk to you on Guam, they want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Like when they say, yeah, you're like, yeah, but it's not that way here. I feel like it's like when they're like, hey, let's talk. And then you start talking to them. And then that person you're talking to is looking around like, who else can I talk to? Yeah. And they're like, yeah. And you're like, them. Do you want to know what you asked me the question? What do you mean?
Yeah.
And then it's just, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. It's like, I miss the ability to have a deep, nice, genuine conversation with somebody who wants to hear it. I can be fast and I can be fast paced, and it's not like I got slow, but I definitely miss the ability to talk to somebody and them respond in like, what? Yeah, that's interesting. And
interested in your life. That's what that is.
Is that what it is? I mean, but does that mean that everybody here is not interested in my life? Are you trying to say?
Well, that's the fast pace I'm talking about.
Okay.
In Guam, it's a little bit slower.
Yeah.
People, I mean, they love to go to your house. They love for us to get together on the beach or go to everybody's just welcome all the time. Over here, it's like, let me schedule you in, let me see what I'm doing that day, and don't come over
You got 30
unannounced.
minutes ready to go.
Like and in Guam, it's like, in the morning, let me cook something, put it on the stove in case somebody comes by.
Yeah. Or then you look at your watch like, dang, how much time went by? Like,
I know.
I gotta feed my kids. Yeah. Oh no.
Yeah.
Or
and I think maybe that will happen over time here. It's just
maybe.
Guam, there was 10 years of pouring out and being with the community.
Yeah.
Whereas like over here, it's a little bit, everybody's busy.
It is hard though. I do miss, which is so weird for me to say. I'm gonna regret saying this because I'm the whitest one in this family. I do miss the ability and the option to go to the beach.
Oh,
I do miss that.
I can't believe you said that. Somebody who hates the beach.
Look how white I am. I used to be.
We
10.
always make fun of him. He's our statesider in our family. And look, he's here and he misses the beach. I can't believe
I
that.
like it's such an ordeal. Like you gotta get on, and then like.
No way, it's fun.
No, like for my family, because they are like, let's go to the beach. I'm like, okay, cool, let's go. And they're like, we gotta get our bag, we gotta get dressed, we gotta eat food, and we gotta make sure we have food, and we gotta make sure we have a plan. I'm just like
chairs and your gallon of water to rinse your feet before you get in the car,
and it's
and
just
your hats and your sunscreen. It's fun.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just
part of it, and the island music.
Just an irritable person.
Yes, you're very unhappy.
I know. I'm just cranky. So I wish,
I got you on a good day too.
I know. You promised me good food.
Yeah.
Oh.
Chicken.
Dried chicken. Gracious. Yeah. Health problems are a problem too. But no, so I miss the ability to go, because if like, okay, let's make a day, let's go to the beach. It's like, you don't want to go.
Well, even just driving by it, it's tranquil, it's serenity. It's like, wow, look at that. For me, it's the sunsets,
Yeah. It was such a trip though, being there for 10 years to realize people save up an entire year or a life to come vacation there.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird to think?
Very.
Like people save up forever and then they schedule 2 weeks for their job and say, oh, I'll be back.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a lifetime in Jingle.
Well, guess what? Our life is going to be that.
Yeah, that's not weird. Isn't that weird?
We're going to go visit Guam. I never thought we'd say that.
Yeah.
But
yeah, because I don't want to go to Hawaii. Not anything against Hawaii.
no, we love our Hawaiian brothers and sisters. So
Yeah, I love them, but I like the island of Guam better.
Of course, everybody knows Guam's more beautiful. I'm sorry.
What did
Hawaii,
I
but
say?
it
I didn't say
is.
anything about the Hawaiian
beaches
people.
are way better. Everybody knows
My
the
brother.
beaches in Guam are way better. Everybody knows that.
Yeah. I don't know.
You know, I have a story of where Dad and I almost got killed on Hawaii Beach because we're used to Guam where the reef goes way out, right? The reef goes way out and then it drops off and then it gets deep. And so there's white sand all across. You can walk out for miles and miles and miles. And so that means the water is like crystal clear, blue, calm. Then you go to Hawaii and it's like
right up on the
waves. And Dad and I went out one time and we were like, then the rocks and literally we couldn't even get out of, it was, I mean, I'll let
Death.
Dad tell that story. Yeah, crazy. So yeah, the water is much more better in Guam.
Yeah, I don't know.
The beaches.
I went to Hawaii. It's cool, but it's not for me.
Yeah, it's kind of crowded.
Yeah, I guess.
It is.
Is that what it is?
And it has a lot of what they call howlies. Well, Guam
That
calls it that
sucks.
too.
No. Well, it is, yes. But for whatever reason, I like.
It's like you're in the States because Hawaii is a state. I used to say it all the time. Hawaii is like I'm in the States because Guam, it's not. There's culture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You think Hawaii doesn't have culture?
Well, it's Americanized culture. And it's
right.
because it's a U.S.,
Yeah.
state.
You can say territory.
But I don't want to say anything as that because I know there's a lot of Hawaiian natives who are like, give us our Hawaii back.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, Guam's like that too. Decolonize.
yeah,
You know?
that's true.
Don't sit on our laddie stones.
Yeah,
That's a thing. Don't do it.
that's a whole, yeah. You're not supposed to anyways.
Well, yeah. Who sits on that?
Well,
The
the
white people.
Howleys.
Yeah.
Don't they know the rules? You
Yeah.
just don't do
yeah.
that.
I
It's
was
called
such
respect.
my whole in-laws are all Chamorro.
Yeah, I know.
like it's,
From the deep south.
From the south, boy.
The deep
The
south.
boys, the south there.
No.
And
Alpha boy?
yeah, for boys,
You like to go hunting?
you gonna give me the blue one? No.
No, tell the story. Tell the story.
Yeah. So my family. Why do you make me do this?
I love it.
my in-laws are like as Chamorro as it gets. You know what I mean? Like, and so
We love them.
I miss them. They're awesome. They miss me because I'm like their white,
Yeah.
They feel like they have to take care of me, you know?
Yes, well, they do.
Come here. Wow.
Yeah, because hers are like fishermen and hunters.
Yeah, so
and,
in her
you know.
and Shannon's family village is called like they have her own village.
Well,
Kind of, yeah.
the whole village is her family. So, yeah.
So in the village is called Umatic. Beautiful place.
We all know about Agate.
What would you say?
That's where Dad's from.
Yeah, it is where Dad's. I thought you said that. I know. I was like, that is also a very southern village. Yes. The rough village is, the hard village.
Yes.
That you don't look at anybody like this there, especially if you're the color of me. Yeah, I'll just get some military dude was found dead.
No, they pretty much know that you're a Nauta. But
No, they do now.
Yeah.
Oh, only that one.
Yeah.
And the boy, my son. But anyway, so I was there for a party or a fiesta and somebody's birthday party, and all the uncles and all the family and everybody's out there. Some of them are shirtless.
Yeah.
With the pig. There's a pig out there, and they just come back from fishing, and all the ladies are making the freaking tatitas and the bread. And everybody's yelling, and buy your son,
Hey, the white one's here.
no, not that one.
Yeah.
How you doing, boy? And I'm like, I'm good, auntie.
Meanwhile, Shannon's off amening everybody.
Yeah, so amening is like when the people go and you pay respects basically, and you it's the way you say hi. It's kind of like in the white culture. You just go and you hug people and like, hi, nice to meet you. But usually that happens at the door. There's no door necessarily. Everybody's just outside. There are inside, but everything's the happening is outside. And so then you go and you amen people, and they're all sitting down smoking a cigarette, or they're out there just chilling and waiting for the food table to open, or it has opened already at this time. And Shannon just leaves me.
You're late.
Yes, and Shannon just leaves me, and now I'm lost.
Yeah.
I'm like, what happened to my wife? I feel like a lost child at Walmart. I'm like, which brown lady is mine? you know.
That's true.
You know, and she turns around, I'm like, I'm lost, you know. And it's like music is playing always, you know, and it's
drinking.
loud and there's a canopy, it's hot, you know.
It's fun.
I'm sweating.
Oh no.
Yep. And I have my son, and my son is even more tan than me, but he's also a white boy, you know, my son Carlisle. And I feel like I have to cling on to him. You know, I'm like, we're in this together, boy. You know, you know, like, don't you leave me, you know? And so I don't know how I ended up where I was. I got lost, like I said, and I'm at where they grill. You know, all the guys are hanging out drinking, and they got cigarette hanging out just barely, you know. And one of the uncles was just looking at me, and he goes, "Hey boy, you hunt?" And I said,
We all know you.
No, uncle, I don't hunt. And he goes, "Ah." And I said, I don't hunt. Just like, you know, and I'm trying to be brave with my big boy voice. And you could tell everybody kind of looked around, and he goes,
music stopped.
Yeah. And even Shannon, you know, she could feel it, you know, she's far. Like, oh. She's doing this almond train, and she went inside. She probably had to go pee or whatever, because she's pregnant or whatever. And and he goes, "Okay, you fish?" And I said, No,
nope.
No, uncle.
I
also.
Many times.
He goes, "Okay, yeah, but do you rod and reel?" Like it seems like he's scaling back.
Rod and reels with the fishing pole.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because fishing is spear fishing.
Spear fishing.
And then he's like, "Well, do you rod and reel?" And I said,
You know, because you're white. Rod and reel.
No, no, uncle.
You don't even do that?
I also don't do that. Also.
What do you do?
And he just was very confused. He was and even all the dudes around him were like, "What the heck do you do?" You know?
What are you?
And it clearly doesn't look like. Oh, no. Wow. Jeez. Nothing, I guess.
No. You need a podcast?
Yeah. You'd make a banner, boy. Yeah, and it clearly, you know, the other thing about the island is like it's very MMA culture, you know, fight culture. And if you just take a good hard look at me, I don't look like I fight. I don't look like I can.
Well, looks can be deceiving
That's
in that
nice.
area.
Thank you. But there are some dudes that have cauliflower ear, yoked out of their mind. You know what I mean? You could tell that they wrestle or something, and it turns out they play volleyball. You know what I mean? Like but they just look that way.
That's
you know what I mean?
Chamorro people,
yeah, I know. Yeah. But look at me. Yeah. I don't look like that. Okay. Typical Chamorro dude is like that, you know?
Yeah.
And so they were just very confused. And so they were like, "Well, what do you do?" And I said, "If you ever need a banner for your party."
It's true.
Because they always need like they always do birthday banners of like the little girl, you know, and I'm like, "You see that banner over there? I made that." Like, you know, and they're like, "You work for a print shop?" I'm like, no. Like and I had to start you know, and they're like, "Oh, you know," and they look at my hands and they're soft, you know, and it's like, "Oh, okay," you know, like, and the aunties are like, "Boy, come here and help me." And I'm like,
and then there's David in the AC inside.
Yeah, holding a baby.
Well, Shannon's out there at the grill.
Yeah, Shannon's doing great. You know, she's trying to be a contributor to society, and I'm over here with the kids like, "Don't touch that. Grandma's gonna get mad."
Well, it's so funny because Dad would every time I go down south, especially down there, they'd be like, "Hey, David, your boy?" And Dad would be like, "Yeah, that's my boy. Make sure you take care of him." "Oh yeah, we're taking care of him."
We're taking care of him. Yeah.
He hasn't got beat up yet. Don't worry.
No, the most funnest thing is the most fun. Let me use correct English here. The most funnest thing.
I know, we're in the States now.
Yeah. The most fun I've ever had is when we're at a fiesta or whatever, and you and Dad are there, and it's fun because they're like, "Who's your dad, boy?" And I'm like, "That one over there," and they're like, "Where?"
They said where?
Where? And I said, the bald one. And praise the Lord, Dad was the only bald one there.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Him?" And I said, "Yeah, that's my dad." And they're like,
That's so funny.
and they think he adopted me.
Oh.
They're like, "Oh, you know, like he must have, he's lost." Like, you know, I'm like, if you say my mom, it makes sense.
Yeah,
you know?
that's what I tell everybody. Or actually, your dad tells everybody.
Or they always say, "What's your last name, boy?"
Oh, yeah.
And I say, "Nauta." And they're like,
Huh?
"From where?"
You must be the north.
"You must be from the north." And I'm like, "He's from Aggat."
Yeah.
From the south.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Don't believe you.
Don't believe. Yeah.
You know, Shannon, I think this one's a con artist.
Yeah, I think I always say I have like a friends and family pass to be down south.
Yeah.
Like I have like a frequent flyer punch card. You know? It's hilarious because there are in the way that the Chamorro family works, like you pay massive amounts of respect to your older, right? And so there has been time. There's somebody who went to our church who is related to Shannon, who technically is Shannon's auntie, but he is much older than Shannon.
Wait, an auntie and it's a he?
Yes. No. He and Shannon is his auntie.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, and he's older than her.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's normal.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that makes me
The uncle.
his uncle. And he's Chamorro. And so I'm like, hey boy.
Oh gosh.
Come on in
David.
me. And he's like, shut up. He's like, just because your dad's here. Whatever. I'm like, it's hilarious. Yeah. It's fun.
Well, this has been fun, David, sitting down and talking to you.
You don't want to talk to me anymore?
Oh no, I don't know how much more time we have.
It's fine. I don't know how long we've been going. Can you know how long we've been going?
Probably 5 minutes.
It's been an hour.
Wow. What did we say? We're gonna have to edit a lot.
Yeah. Is this the last time I'm gonna be here? Because I'm gonna soak up the last minutes I have.
No, you're probably gonna be on here a lot more.
That sucks. I mean, that's yeah. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. Gosh, it's fun talking to you, Mom.
Yeah, I know.
Next time I'm gonna. Yeah, gosh.
No, I'm just kidding.
Next time
we have to come up with topics. I think.
Well, no,
we just wing it today.
Yeah, we're just winging it. I think that the more people you have on here, they're gonna realize like, I want you and this person to talk about this.
Hey,
because
people can say that too, and we will.
No, but I mean, like, if you have, I don't know, if like you have Dad or Shannon or Haven or Josiah, like they're gonna be like, oh, I wish you would have talked about this with that person.
Can you think of anything else we should talk about?
Yeah, a lot of things.
Okay, well.
You're like, well, I don't have time for that.
I don't know if I'm
Our
ready
time's
for
up.
that.
Jeez.
Well, because I really wanted to get you on talking about and with everybody the transition stage, and then we'll go into other things.
All right.
More deeply.
Yeah, because I feel like you asked me a lot of questions and I asked you like one.
Well, isn't that how it's supposed to be? The host? I'm the host.
Oh, okay. All right. Jeez. Okay. Jeez.
Yeah.
On your
that's
podcast
why it's called
show.
The Jen Show,
Oh, it's called The Jen Show.
Sit down with Jen. The sit down.
We're gonna have to work on that.
Yeah, I don't know. Sit down, the chit chat. What should we call it? I don't know.
Yeah, I told you what we should call it.
Jen Nauta. But I just feel like it's going to be called the Jen Nauta Show. And
well,
so I think the sit down.
Well, how do you say your last name?
First of all, Nauta.
Okay.
But
like not later, but now?
Yeah, like right now. I think with our family, you know how we have sit downs.
Okay. That sucks, though. When you have to have a sit down with somebody, it means that somebody's in trouble or somebody's pregnant.
Well, maybe back then, but now we have family meetings and we call them the sit down. And so I just think like some people would like to be in our sit downs.
All right.
Maybe they want to eat.
So you're never going to stand up in these?
Oh, no.
No.
Not unless I'm 100 pounds lighter. Thank you very much.
The podcast is going to be
about all you can see.
The podcast is going to be 5 minutes long with the stand up. Sit down.
Yeah, exactly.
We could go long.
Better have some Photoshop up on here.
Yeah. No. Jeez. That has been fun. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for doing all of this because this is your creation. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, you know how hard it was for me to get you to just sit down and just say, talk to me. just ask the questions.
It's been a long time that we've been planning to do this.
Yeah. And I think, as we're winding down, I think that people, you were underestimating the value that people will get just by hearing you and in people that miss you and people that want to be close to you. And that this is kind of like, in a small sense, like in a window to be able to hear your perspective on things. But not only that it can be interactive, that it can be like, hey, can you please address this? Can you please go deeper into like topics? Like, for example, can you please go into what you did take to live, right? Because it was the Lord. Can you talk about what you did? What was your regimen for COVID? What did you do? What did you not do? What did Shannon and David do to you?
Yeah, well, that's something I need to have you and Shannon on.
Many things like
because remember, she's my pharmacist. Half the time I'm like, how many of these do I took? I took 6, and it says only 1.
Shannon was the I was the warden. You will take this.
Oh, I know, especially for your dad.
Yeah, you will drink this.
Yeah,
and I will pat your back with the pneumonia. So and things like how do you do quiet time, all the way to how do you make your recipe for your sourdough bread? How has it been with how, like, I just feel like people we'll have questions that we can have a long, drawn out conversation with. And yeah, for this one, it's been like, let's just talk about stuff,
Yeah.
But I think moving forward, and it can still be this, but I think that there will be specific questions that are going to come in that's like, please address this. Okay. And what is your take on this? And how do we...
I just don't know if everybody wants my take on it.
Then they don't have to watch.
Maybe your dad's take on it. He's the one that's a smart one. I'm more the... I'm still in my refining.
Well, that's great. Well, like this, like an example would be like your take on abortion. Whose opinion is better, yours or dad's?
Mine.
Okay. Who's what about raising so many kids on being a single mother? Whose opinion is better, yours or dad's?
Mine.
Okay.
Just kidding. Poor dad.
No. Okay. Well, then what about like, hey, I have this rough-necked kid from the streets, and he's a gang member, and he wants to start fights with his girlfriend all the time. Who's a better person to talk to, you or dad? Equal. Right?
Yeah.
Or like, hey, I want to go deep, full into ministry. What is that going to entail, you or dad?
Both.
Okay. So there are some things that
Yeah.
It will be you only. There are some things that are going to be dad more tailored towards dad. There are going to be some things that both of you are going to want to talk about to whoever is going to listen. Or like with Haven, like what's it been, or Shannon, what's it been, with doing, or me, or, how have you learned all this?
Well, I mean, I'm following your lead.
What? My lead? What do you mean my lead?
Because you've been encouraging us, Dad and I, to do this for a very, very long, I feel like years. I mean, I'm like, okay, David.
Shut up. David. We don't want to talk down in this mic.
Well, I mean, it was
How do we hold this?
Do you remember before we even went to Guam that we had somebody who wanted to do
a
reality show on our family, 9 kids, and
they came in
Dad
and we had to do a submission video, right? Didn't we do a submission video? And they were like, we need to have you on a TV.
Well, yeah, what happened was I submitted to be the Biggest Loser. That's so funny.
Oh, the weight loss show?
Yeah, the
I
weight
was like,
loss
who's
show.
sick of calling you a big loser?
I know. And they told me I wasn't heavy enough. Oh my gosh. So, but then they said, would you be
That's so messed up.
I know,
You're like,
right?
What do you mean?
Well, 60
You're like,
more pounds. I got this.
I got
No,
this.
just
You're like, how heavy?
will they take me now? I don't know. But then they said, but would you be interested in a reality show? Remember? And Dad and I, we talked to the kids and everything. And we
there was
just felt
one
like
person
some
in
of
our,
the kids
there was
were
one person in our extended family who was like, you need to do this.
Yeah.
You need to, for real. And we need to see the real you. And you were like,
Nope.
I don't think so.
Oh, Lord help us all.
Yeah. We're going to have to cut some things out.
Yeah. I'll be like, did you get that?
Maybe just the intro is going to be okay.
Yeah. So I think that was my only fear. But you know what? I'm just done with all that. And it is what it is. You get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. And I am who I am. And
I feel like I'm
you love me or you hate me,
some
and I don't really
PTSD
care.
just set in. I'm like, what do I have to eat? What is happening? I'll eat the spam. Don't worry. Gosh.
No, but so yeah, I do look forward to doing more, and I'm at a place where I'm willing to do it now. So I'm excited to see what happens. But definitely will have you on probably every time. But
I'll probably be behind the camera being like, talk about this.
Yeah, probably.
I'll be over there.
You're so good at that.
No, that's actually where I wanted to be. Now I'm over here. But yeah, I think it's going to be good. I think there will be, like I said, questions. And I think, if anything, even if people are like, I don't want to watch this garbage, I think that it's good for us. It is nice. And because we always do this. Yeah, like therapeutic. I think it, because we always have the family talk. We're like, we should have recorded that because somebody might have gotten something out of that.
Or more like, I'm glad nobody was recording that. Be real. Yeah. No, but so we'll see. We'll see what happens after this. So I think this is all we got.
Yeah. It'll be fun.
Bada bing, bada boom. Bye. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of
A Day in a Life.
A Day in a Life with Jen Nauta.
Chit chat.
Chit chat.
Sit down.
All right. Let's get out of here.